In normal times, managing a remote team can be challenging. In times of national or global upheaval, it's downright difficult. In this episode, I'll share 3 things to be sure you're doing right now to bolster your team's strength, productivity, and morale when it feels like your remote team is falling apart. For the best research-based practical workplace advice, check out the new videos I post weekly, and be sure to hit subscribe and the notification bell so you don't miss a single one. I'm Dr. Erika Garms, CEO of WorkingSmarts and founder of the Heal Work Hurts project. At WorkingSmarts, I help smarties like you work, lead, and manage smarter using brain-friendly methodologies. I've shared my methods with tens of thousands of other professionals like you and seen the results that they can make. Higher performance, less stress, better relationships, more free time. Okay, when your remote team feels wobbly, shaky, or like it's completely crumbling, there are some things you need to do and that you can do right away to get some solid footing underneath you and your team to build from. Okay, you don't have to do all of the things and worry about 16 team building activities per week into your routines. You just need to do these solidifying foundational items consistently. And then as you build the stability back that you're looking for, you can start layering in some additional activities and methods. Number 1, use routines. Okay, maybe you call these cadences, maybe you call these rhythms, maybe you call this our schedule, but it's important to be sure that you are providing, and I wouldn't say imposing, you're really providing this sense of normalcy for your team in a time where it's very difficult to feel and find any relics of what we call normalcy in our lives. So the more you can provide repeatable, expectable events through the work week for folks, the more you will do a few things. You'll solidify the team's culture, okay? You'll boost the morale and the interaction between team members. And you'll increase performance because it will be expected that you're having check-ins at a certain time, day, and they have responsibilities associated with those check-ins. You want to publicize and communicate any and all routines in multiple different ways so that no one feels like you left them out. Okay, that's a potential pitfall right there. You need to use different methodologies to make sure that no one can say fairly or unfairly, I wasn't notified or I didn't get that. So you want to do phone calls occasionally. You could do text if that's what you do as a routine. You could do WhatsApp, you could do Slack, you could do any sort of instant messaging, and of course emails. So you want to make sure that people are absolutely going to get the message that you have these routines happening this week. What I like to do with folks in my online courses is every Monday, I send an email with the same subject heading every single week. It's in brackets is the name of the course, and then it says this week. And that builds the expectability, right? That is a routine that people come to look for, watch for, and know that if it doesn't appear in their inbox, something is wrong and they need to figure out what happened. And that email then lays out all the activities that are happening for that online course in this example for them this week. So you could do the same. And some examples of those routines might be things like a standing huddle. Maybe it's a 15-minute stand-up. You could literally have a stand-up 15-minute huddle every Monday at 10 a.m. You could do an optional Thursday Zoom lunch, right? Morale building, camaraderie, and communication. So they don't all have to be about the work. They could also be about building relationship as well. But you want to make sure that you've got some sprinkled throughout the week and then do them so that you're not canceling because there might not be enough to keep the conversation flowing, or cancel because somebody's out. I would really encourage you to stick to those routines, because once you start canceling or postponing, then immediately people's expectations change and it shifts to if we have this meeting, then, or I don't know if that's on or off. You want to give them the assurance that it will always happen. Number 2, keep focused on goals. That might sound ridiculously simple, and you might think also, like many of my clients do, that people should know what their goals are, right? Well, let me ask you this. Do they have a work plan? It's a work plan. Well, most of us are not trained in how to build, how to create a work plan, and definitely not trained in how then to hand out the work plan to each person on our team, help them understand it, and then monitor the performance to plan. This could be something that is built collaboratively with you and your teammates. There also is another video, several other videos about work planning, where I'll get into details about that, because I think it's something that we are sorely under-trained and under-focused on. But the punchline, the bottom line here in this video is that in a time of uncertainty and fear and discomfort and anxiety and all those things, and when you're not seeing people face to face every day, it's even more important to be sure that you are reinforcing all of the goals that you're working towards. So what are the team goals? Do you have 3 big team goals for the month or for the 90-day quarter that you could continually touch base on or remind people of? And then individually, can you continue to reinforce that you will check in on each person's individual goals? Number 3, it sounds weird, acknowledge the weirdness. Yep, you really need to let people know in this time that we're in, and really in all time, you need to let people know, if you're a manager or leader, that you are human. And it doesn't mean you need to over divulge personal information. It doesn't mean you need to invite them into your personal life. Appropriate boundaries are still a good idea. What it does mean is you need to say something about the fact that this is tough. These are uncomfortable times. They're anxiety-producing times. And you get that people might have a lot on their minds and a lot on their plates. Here's an easy image to keep in mind to help you keep the need to be human in front of mind. If you think about a seesaw, and you think about the one end of the seesaw as having task sitting on it, and the other end of the seesaw having relationships sitting on it. Think about this image of always needing to balance the focus that you put on tasks, so the work itself, and relationships, the human beings and the relationships that they have with each other in your group. If you're overly heavy on the work, what do you think people will feel like? There's a good chance that many folks will feel like you're overly focused on work, because you will be, and that you don't care about them. And in a time that's difficult, people need to hear messages repeatedly that you see them, you value them, and that you care for them at a basic level. If you're overly focused on relationships, then there's a chance that you'll be over inserting yourself into people's lives, and we don't want to do that. There are services that you can certainly suggest to people, like EAP, employee assistance programs, that many of your organizations will have. So you're not needing to be a psychologist, you're not needing to be a social worker, financial consultant, any of those things that are beyond your role in their lives. But you do need to put some focus on showing compassion, showing interest, their well-being at work, as it happens at work. Note, mental health struggles are at an all-time high. They have been really, really high in workplaces, but in the last several months, even more so. So again, you're not being called upon or expected to be more than the manager or the leader, but you do need to be alert to some really well-known common signs of depression, of burnout, of anxiety, and even of violence, potential violence happening in the home. Because those things going on will certainly have an impact on their work and then your team. But it also means that you need to bring it to the person's attention that you notice that they're not acting themselves lately. Could and should tell them that you notice, you see them, and if they need any resources or need any support from a work context, you're open to them. You're there for them. Remember that if you notice these signs in one of your teammates, you're probably not the only one noticing them. Probably the coworkers are also noticing those signs in a teammate that's struggling with mental, emotional health issues. And they're looking to you to do something about it, okay? Not that what you do has to be public, but they're expecting you as leader to take some action. Comment below if you would, and tell me with just a number 1, 2, or 3, which of those 3 foundational stabilizing techniques do you think you could start using more? So 1 was about instituting and maintaining routines. 2 was about maintaining focus on goals. And 3 was about showing you're human and being attentive to emotional struggles in your teammates. If you are struggling with your team and you would love a small sounding board, confidential, safe, highly professional, masterfully facilitated, you might like our 8-week masterclass. If you're curious about this program, check out the link in the video description below to learn more about it. And of course, if you liked this video, please hit like, and just a last reminder to subscribe and hit the notification bell if you don't want to miss any future videos. Thanks, and take good care.